Welcome back to the channel. I would like to first start out by thanking the viewers. And if you enjoy watching this channel, feel free to like and subscribe to get updates when I start streaming. And in today's stream, we will be going over exactly what you see there in the title, essentially searching for a vehicle to rebuild, both in the barn and then in the auction house. And after we go ahead and rebuild said vehicle, we'll start with the salvaging of parts, followed by order taking. Seems you guys really enjoy that, so we'll go ahead and finish out the video with it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first I'm going to start by looking in the barn, see if we can find a vehicle there, maybe pick up a few parts we might need. Do-do, do-do, do-do. I'm do-doing. Let me see, let me see. Ooh, what is this? A bolt relaunch. We actually already have one of those, so I'm probably not going to purchase that. We have already pimped one of those in the past. It wasn't recorded, but we did go over it on our past pimp jobs episode, which you could find in my videos list if you're interested. Definitely worth checking out. Has some of my best builds there. That's also part of my Pimp That Ride series, which is a series that seems to be well liked amongst my viewers. So definitely something you might want to check into. And with that, I don't remember doing this at all, so let me see here. The buying commission 5%, that's 1,434 credits. Estimated car value upgrade 25,749 credits. Buy price 30,133 credits. This would be a vehicle we would be looking to keep. Comes with the V8 2 Carbo HV. You could put pretty much anything you want in it. Oh, you could put that Ford Cobra Jet engine in it with the 429. That might be interesting. We'll go ahead and buy that and move it on to the garage. And let's just go back to the garage. That wasn't the 429, that was the 4, or no, it wasn't the 420, it was the 429, I think it said 420. But there it is. So we will just get started, like usual, by taking it over to what they would refer to as the car wash. At the car wash, yeah. So let's go ahead and vacuum that out. Paint job looks really nice on this one. Be anxious to see the state of the body here. Let me see, we got 84% on the body. That is an all-time high for a barn find. Yeah, for a barn find, possibly salvage yard and auction house as well. Oh, the frame's at 66%, parts at 32%, interior 89%. So altogether, this vehicle is actually in pretty good shape. Given it's in such a good shape, I'm kind of curious to see if it starts. Ah, no, would not start. without some maintenance, I think. Yeah, missing a fuse cover. So I doubt if it would start without the fuse cover or the steering reservoir or the rocker arm. Seriously, not that. I mean, in real life it might start, it would just be missing, but it won't start here. So, yeah, not gonna start without exhaust, huh? Do we even have a fuel pump in this one? Let's see, we do not. So yeah, that would prevent the starting of the vehicle. Well, we've solved that mystery. Now we can go ahead and move the vehicle on up on a lift. And we'll start by removing the tires. And as usual, we'll move into the removal of the mechanical parts from the back to the front. And once we finish with that, we will go ahead and start on the by removing the engine, of course, put that on the lift. And then we can go ahead and start fixing the frame. Since I didn't already get the body parts, we'll do that as well. Sorry about that. You guys shouldn't even hear that audio, given the way I have it currently set up, but for some reason you're able to hear it, so still working on that one. That one's honestly kind of irritating me. I would like to welcome the viewer I have. Very loyal viewer. I see them viewing me whenever I start a new stream. Seem like great person or people to me. Alright, no oil pan, so we will not have to worry about the draining of the oil. That would also prevent him from starting. The start test would not have worked. I think we made that clear. Oh, I hate my laugh. I've listened to it in recordings, so I had to go back and edit, and have come to that decision. It seems juvenile. Of course, that's my tired laugh. My normal laugh is much louder and annoying, but I like it. There we go. Sorry about that. Had to cough. Coffee, cough, cough. Coughity cough. Cough, cough. All right. So we did get those removed. Let me see here. All right. So go ahead and remove those manifolds along with the body parts here. Get that engine out and put it on the lift. And like every single body part. How rare is that? If you ask me, I'd say it was pretty rare. Given previous builds. Let's go ahead and remove this. There you go. And remove this one. And while we're at it, we might as well remove the rest of the parts in the engine bay, which there are only one of, as we're even missing the radiator. Don't know why I thought there's even the potential of this vehicle starting. When in real life, technically, it could start without the radiator, but the other parts prohibit that, so. And we got it removed. Oh, we got it on the engine stand. And we are repairing it to OEM condition. There you go. We'll go ahead and move that back and start with the engine tear down once we put this on the left for resurfacing. From the top to the bottom. So just something that struck me as something I would really like to mention in this stream. Um, as far as network security goes, um, changing passwords works miracles. So Like the password you should always have set when logging into your computer. If you don't have biometrics set up, which is honestly the best security procedure, but I know personally I don't do it because I don't like to give my biometric data to a big corporation that could then turn it over to partners or whoever they have written in the contract. That's just me. But it is the best security precaution next to secondary authentication on every single account you ever have. Um, Also, it's not a bad idea on your phone to get another password set up for the actual, what do you call it? For the actual system itself, because you have two passwords you could set. One of them would be for the system on the phone, that I can't remember the actual name for because I woke up like every hour up until 2 a.m. Then it was like every 2 hours. So, yeah, my neighbors are wonderful people. But, yeah, so, having both of those passwords is best when it comes to not getting your phone hacked. But the best thing you could do is keep all the software updated and especially your operating system software, which you could do from the settings menu. And just, yeah, keep it updated. If you can, root the phone after your phone no longer receives updates. The most important part of that is the updates part. Because if you root your phone while it's still in support by the manufacturer, uh, then that leaves holes within it. I mean, you could have a firewall if you root your phone, which is why people, one of the primary reasons to root your phone is to set up a firewall keeping hackers out. Granted, if they really want to get in, it is very possible. But most hacking situations when it comes to phones have to do with people hacking multiple devices. So it wouldn't be limited to just one. And if you have a rooted phone with a firewall on it, they're a lot less likely to even bother with it. But yeah, so that's the best thing on the phone. On the computer, I would just recommend keeping software updated, getting a good firewall installed. If you can, find your local tech guy, have them set it up for you in the correct manner, preferably somebody who has a profession in cybersecurity, as they would know exactly what ports to block. But with that, yeah, just get a good firewall. I mean, if you can't get anybody to set up for you, a firewall is better than just the Windows firewall, which honestly has been had holes in it since the day it began. I mean, the most recent one with Windows 8, I believe is when it started using Microsoft Defender, is better than the old one, previous to partnering up with McAfee, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's still, you know, has holes in it. It's probably one of the easiest firewalls to hack through. I'm sure I could look up like 5 vulnerabilities right now. And if I dedicated time to it, I'm sure I can get in. But yeah, I wouldn't do that because I'm not into really, intruding on somebody's privacy. That's very intrusive if you ask me. And a violation of privacy. But yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I do. You could also use a VPN. That'll prevent people from seeing your network traffic predominantly. But I use private internet access myself. They don't sponsor me or anything, but if you're going to use one, that's definitely the one I would go with. Um, if you're listening, I would not be opposed to a sponsorship in any way. I actually use it myself. I have for many years. I've signed up for the 2-year plan, like 2 years in a row. So definitely something I would go with, as they do not keep logs of your network traffic and divulge them to anyone. One, that's something a lot of VPN providers do. And two, it provides access to more network traffic than other VPNs. So if you're using like peer-to-peer traffic, then you're gonna need to get a specialized VPN for that, which PIA, which is their initials, provides. That was one of the original reasons I went with them back in the day. You know what I'm saying? But we're just gonna get started repairing the mechanical parts now, then we'll move to the body parts. Oh, and also keep your drivers updated on your computer. That's another way that you could use to get in. Your operating system, like all that stuff. Because if I were going to get in, I would use a vulnerability in your OS. That'd be my first thing. And make sure you have an OS that is still supported by Microsoft. Windows 10 is no longer going to be supported, by the way, in late 2025. So we're all being forced to upgrade. I don't know if they're coming out with a new OS this year, but I'm pretty certain they are. But for now, Windows 11 isn't a bad option. I mean, the only thing I don't like about Windows 11, and I'm sure I'd find more if I used it, but the primary thing I don't like about Windows 11 is the start menu kind of functionality at the bottom. Like a lot of Linux distributions, they made it look like a Macintosh in that aspect. And in my personal opinion, it was a bad move. I mean, if you want a Macintosh, you go buy a Macintosh. Which the only reason to purchase is video or photo editing. Just to, just putting that out there. Otherwise, they're pretty overpriced, even with the recent update to their processors, as they're now going back to Motorola. So I think I might have to start hating on them. Well, stop hating on them soon. I've been hating on them since they went away from Motorola processors, as you may recall from a previous stream I've posted. And I've enjoyed every bit of it. But now that they're going back to Motorola, I'm losing reasons to hate them. Besides the overpriced thing, which is still ridiculous. I mean, even when they switched to Intel and started saving money on the building of these computers, they still were overpriced. And the only logical reason they had to back that was their displays were higher quality 4K displays. They were the first company to come out with 4K. So I'm pretty certain they still have the best displays. Their Retina displays, I believe, is what they're referring to them as. But, you know, And quite honestly, if you want a computer that's really less likely to be hacked, it's them. Because one, you don't have to pay for the new OS when it's released, ever, last I checked. And two, it's not as common as Windows on the market. I mean, most hackers are going to be looking to hack Windows distributions. It's not as common as that. I mean, so Linux is kind of the same way. But there have been more exploits for Windows. I mean Linux lately. Linux has popped up in the news a lot, unfortunately. And the distros are similar enough to convert to, other distros in order to get in. So, which reminds me, I should convert mine to Linux, but then I'm hesitant because what happens when I go on the road, which is the original reason I even purchased this thing. You go on the road. What was that song? How did it go? Take it on the road, baby. If that's the way you want it. Something like that. Good song. Okay, so I believe we were gonna go ahead and get the V8 Ford Cobra Jet 429 engine. V8 Cobra Jet 429. And if you've ever heard of me, sure you've heard a bunch of lies about me as a person. So before you take those lies into consideration, and I'll tell you right now, 85 to 90% of it is made up of lies. The very base of these lies are based on lies upon another stage of lies. You know, when they can't get you as a bad person because you're not at all a bad person, they start creating lies about you. You know, you just got to remember the way the feeble mind works. And we look at a V8 Ford Cobra Jet 429 engine pre-built right here. So let's go ahead and put that on the stand just to get a look at it here. We do have quite a few aftermarkets on this one. So that is good to see, given we have a high probability of pimping it on a video in the future. So given the engine is already done, it kind of helps us in that direction. Let's kind of check on those rocker arms. Actually, I don't even think you can get those aftermarkets, so we'll hold off on that. It looks good. The alternator's kind of cool looking. It's even got an aftermarket clutch assembly. That is pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and take that off the list. And we will put it in the vehicle. But in order to do that, we're going to need the lift over here. So don't know why I went over there and did that. Install. We installed it. Look at that. Let's actually take a picture of that real quick. Let's take a picture of that. Beautiful. And we're not going to put the body parts on. And we'll just get started putting in the mechanical parts, or parts, uh, from the back to the front. Have to label this episode a cybersecurity must. Kind of a weird combination to have with a auto mechanics simulator, but it definitely is. That doesn't boost watches. I don't know what will. Views, I should say. Watches. A watch would be nice. But I'd probably pawn it at this stage in my life. Haven't been able to find a job. Pretty upset about that. Kind of irate some days. I've actually considered starting up a channel for IT repair scenarios, as I can go on for years and years into infinity with my past experience on IT repair scenarios. And I feel it would help a lot of people. So, only reason I don't do it is 2 channels is a bit much for me. I've tried that in the past and it didn't work out. I mean, if I were full time getting paid for it, because I had like over 500 subscribers, it would be a different scenario. But since I am not, it is a bit much. Yeah, definitely not getting paid for any of this. Not through sponsorship, not through subscriptions, not through viewers, none of that. So, if you'd like to see me get paid, which, I would too, please feel free to subscribe. It goes a long way. Get that snare. Yeah, I haven't had any new subscriptions in months. I did have one new subscription from a fellow YouTuber. I've actually sponsored some of her music in like 2 of my previous videos in the past. Um, so you could always check on that. I believe on one of my streams, you could find in the description a link to her music, because I did mention it on that stream, and if I do remember, I'll go ahead and put it on the description for this video as well. He's a really good artist. I mean, if you're into a lot of sad songs or love songs, stuff like that, definitely really, really good. I mean, she deserves more subscribers than she has. Again, sorry about that. Should have that resolved by next stream with any luck. Oh, if you'd like to see me make that PC repair channel, please remark that in the comments or chat as is. Devil wishbone shock absorbers in the front. Always preferred, right? Unless you're trying to do your own body or body work, mechanical work, and then it's kind of a pain because you have to expand it and compress it. For that, you need a specialized tool, otherwise, you risk getting hit very hard. And if you do get hit, you're damaging something. That is far too much pressure those things are under. So, now that we got all those parts in, let's go ahead and add those to the list. Rim Retro 714s. Those are pretty common, actually. Well, Rim Retros. I think 7 is pretty common, too. I got 7Bs. No, 7Bs are not 14s. 18s. 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 We do have about 4 14s here, so I'm just going to use these ones in this place. Kind of save on cost there, since if and when we do pimp out this ride, we'll be changing them out anyway. So, kind of makes sense. Now, with that, we'll come over here. Uh, 1475, 225. So we got 1475, 225. We're going to get about 4 of those. And go ahead and add those there. We already got that, right? Go and remove that. Get the other one. put on there while we're balancing this one. Um, so let's go ahead and get these tires on. Okay, just wanted to make sure we got that fuel pump in there. I have been known to forget that from time to time. You would expect a fuel pump to be a larger part, at least I did before I knew anything about engines, but it's not. It's a really relatively small part for such a vital aspect of the engine. Sometimes big things come in small packages, you know? Like 5'8", you know, in stature, 225. Just putting that out there, you know? Just, I'm like a little Napoleon if Napoleon were taller and wasn't completely insane. Which reminds me, I think it's insanity how many men want to compare themselves to Viking as though they were such some kind of powerful symbol in culture. I mean, if anybody knows anything about the Vikings, they were essentially pirates, which there's nothing powerful about. They were just insane and did horrific things. I'm coming out and saying that now. I don't support the Vikings or anything that would support them in any way. And I'm part Irish. You know who I do support? Elon Musk. He is a revolutionary. Without Elon, we would have a lot less inventions that were meaningful towards the people of this planet entirely. I mean, he's made, well, he's working on robotic technology. He's made revolutionary solar panels. He even has a tiny home, a cell phone, spaceships of all things, plans to inhabit Mars. He's just, I mean, he's created global internet service that's reachable to your average person. This man is a revolutionary. And when he passes, it'll be a global loss, not a national loss. Hopefully, that'll be a very long time from now, like 60 years. Because I'm pretty certain he's in his 40s or 50s. I could be wrong about that. He is a billionaire though, so that grants you a pretty long life. All right, let's get some new windshields on here. Oh, windshields. There we go. And headlights are a must. Also need some tail lights. I don't even know why I bothered adding those to the list when I know exactly what I'm getting. I guess it's just habit. And there we go. She is looking good already. Minus this, kind of concerning. But, there we go. The more stars, the better, I say. The less stars, the more nervous I get. Oh, excuse me. I have very bad acid reflux, which causes my burps to be odd. Alright, so we got those interior parts put in. Before we go ahead and take this vehicle anywhere, I want to get into it, and I want to try and start it. Started right up first build. That's nice. Let's see that engine here. Sounds good. And let's go ahead and move it on over to the car wash in preparation for the paint shop. At the car wash, yeah. And we will vacuum it. As I'm certain it's gotten some debris since we've been working on the repairs. Go ahead and take it to the paint shop here and start to the painting. Let's see what these are here. I kind of like the green, so we'll go with that. And see about the lip release. Oh, that's kind of cool. On the green paint. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's even better. So we're going to go with 3. The gold stripes. 3 of them. With the green paint job. And with that, we'll go ahead and move it over to the dyno. And get started. Alright, so we did start with 337 horsepower, 545 RPM, 413 foot-pounds of torque at 3,390 RPM. The measured increase is 512 horsepower at 5,060 RPM, 614 foot-pounds of torque at 3,460 RPM. That is a gain of 180 horsepower at 54% and 201 foot-pounds of torque at 49%. Drag rating of C at 252. That is a pretty good increase, especially considering the only aftermarket part I put in there was the fuel filter, which really, it's negligible on the amount of horsepower that's added. So, all engine right there for the most part. Way better engine. So, let's go ahead and move this out to the front here. Pop the hood. Look at that beauty. Saw it on the lift. Now it's in the vehicle. Looks pretty cool. So let's get back here and give you guys what you really want, and that's that thumbnail shot. There you go. You witnessed it here, only on my channel. It's the only place it can be. Yeah, kind of funny. Pun intended. But let's go ahead and move it over to the parking. And we will move on to the salvaging of parts right after I check over here. Just wanted to confirm, because sometimes I have leftover brake discs that can be resurfaced and I end up salvaging them. So that happens. Now, when I'm salvaging parts, what I like to do is play a little game just to keep you guys entertained, really. Keep you engaged. Make sure you don't want to stop watching. Can't let that happen. Play it in the background while you're washing dishes, while you're cleaning up around the house. Maybe you look over, learn something new about auto mechanics. You never know. But if you're not doing that and you're actually engaged in watching this video, I do appreciate that, one. And two, I like to play a little game where I count how many bonuses I can get in a row, and I make new records sometimes on each stream. So my current record last I believe was like 19. So going with that, we'll go ahead and get started. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 7. Ooh, almost got 17, but I did not. And that goes down in history now. Got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. 1, 2, 1, 2. No, that's still 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. I gotta do that, right? It might become a thing. You never know. Could be a thing. 4, 5, 6, 7. Come on. I'm not getting any records today, you know. No records. No records, no records, no records. Stop. Game show pun intended. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ugh. Phone's ringing, but just for you guys, I will not answer it. Let's be honest, it was my sibling. I think she... Actually, I gotta check something real quick. Sorry about that. Thought I heard a knock at the door. I did not. Oh. We are back. Which reminds me of a Biggie song. Who was that knocking on my door? 5 in the morning. Got me on it. Of which his last album was terrible. True. I mean, it was good, but it was some pretty terrible lyrics. I didn't know he was like that before, given his celebrity status. And he always seemed like such a nice guy in the interviews. When Tupac is kind of picking on him. That's the way it came across in that one biography we all saw. But he could flow. So, there's that. Alright. So, we got all those Savage parts. Did not set any records. Even after we came back, it wasn't even 17. So, we got that. And now we got about 2 hours left. So that's going to be about 2 hours of order taking. You guys seem to love it, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and see what we're starting with here. Starting with the ribbon start on. Alright, so let's go ahead and check into this here. Running all gear faults. All running gear faults. Repair all running gear faults. There's only one problem there. Car is hard to control. 2 braking system problems. About 5 problems. So definitely a module and or a pump are within that equation. Car is loud. Got about 2 of those. Repair damaged panels. That's always fun. So, car is hard to control. We do have a bad shock absorber cap on the driver's side there. Let's see, 45%. Let me use one of those tools I have here. I can't use it on the brake booster, unfortunately. Let me see. Do we have manual back here? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Okay, never mind. It'd be easier just to look. The brake module and pumps seem like they're pretty new. So with that, let's go ahead and check on those calipers and brake pads as well as rotors. Those are a few of the things that could be causing this problem. Motor needs replacing. Everything else seems good on this one. I do believe it's the 11 in this case. Let's check here. Yeah, it's the 11. Last one, we didn't even bother trying to repair those rims. That's probably why, part of the reason we got through it so fast. Usually it takes us about an hour and 15 minutes for a rebuild. Last time took us less than an hour. So. Caliper and the brake pads need replacing on this one. Let me check something else out as well. Wheel hub just above the required amounts. Keep that in there. Get a new brake pad. Get a new caliper and cylinder. And we'll put that back in there. Do you want to make sure it's 11? Caliper, brake pads. The brake pads technically don't need to be replaced since they are at the mark, but I'm going to go ahead and replace it anyway, just to be sure. There we go. So let's go ahead and look at this one. I could already say the brake pad needs replaced. I'm pretty certain everything else should be good. Caliper is right at the mark, so we'll go ahead and replace that as well. I'm in a pretty good mood today. A generous mood, I would say. Alright, it looks like that outer tie rod is a little bit rusty. So is the inner tie rod. Oh, we'll go ahead and get those replaced. Definitely could cause control issues. Let's go ahead and check here, running gear, repair page. We're going to also replace that shock absorber cap, as they may be referring to that as a running gear issue, even though in my opinion it is not. No one asked me, so we'll do it. Oh, what was that, Devil Wishbone or A? That was A. Didn't even bother with these either, apparently. We will take apart that A. That is below threshold for the entire assembly. And go ahead and put that back together. 349, and we'll put a new cap on there. Over here, new cap. That is on the line, so we'll go ahead and replace that one as well. Hopefully we'll get a parts bonus out of it. Alright, so we got all that repaired. Go ahead and get this situated here. Alright, just wire getting on my headset here. I have that, what is that, cloud headset. It's supposed to be one of the really good ones. Comes with high audio quality. And let me say, the audio quality is great. It's better than any gaming. I don't know that it's better. I think it's better than the Logitech series, the G series. I think it just a little bit better. But yeah, with the 7.0 implementation anyway, I'm sure they got a new G series headset that also implements that. So I really can't speak for that one. But yeah, out of the G series ones I've tried, and I've had two of them in the past, I was a loyal purchaser of their headsets. Well, through the position I had, where I was allowed to get write-offs for them, it was great. But yeah, so we have the front bumper, front left door window, front left fender, front bumper, front and left door, window, door, window, front and left door, window, yeah. And front left fender, that was in there too, right? Front bumper, front left door window, front left fender, front right door window, front right fender, and the hood. Both drivers, well, passenger and driver's side windows there. Left body window A, left headlight and right headlight. Trunk and windshield. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and repair these engine parts. And we'll go ahead and repair the body parts. Or put the body parts on. That is ones we were able to repair, which is surprisingly little. Usually able to repair all of them. But not in this case. Need both headlights to start with, left and right. Uh, Left body window A, front bumper, left fender, and the trunk. Alright, so with that, uh, let's go over here. We got repair all running gear faults, and that's at 65. Car is hard to control at 51. 330 for the brake system needs fixing. Car is loud at 170. Repair damaged body panels at 4,715. Job, well, tax bonus at 906. Job bonus of 2,510. Total payout 8,747. That's a pretty good payout. Now for the Bolt Reptilia, we have to replace timing related parts. That's a cam gear, timing chain, water pump, and the pulley. Car does not start. Fix all engine problems. Find and fix all engine problems, that is. Inspect and replace oil filter, fuel filter, and round air filter. Gear shifts rough. General gearbox control and repair. And body damage. So with that, we will probably have to tear apart the entire engine. What it's looking like. But let's just get started by draining the coolant fluid from the radiator. Alright, let's keep those off for now. I'm going to come under the vehicle and see about the status of some of these parts. 38, so I don't believe the crankshaft is necessarily going to need to be replaced, but it does look a little rough. So I'll come underneath the vehicle and take a look at that. I don't take anything from anyone ever, so even when I was a child. Still doing it. That's a lot of rocker arms. I mean, I've said it many times. Not recorded. I have said it. In my head, mainly. Maybe to myself a time or two. Spark plugs are in surprisingly good condition. I mean, we'll be replacing all of them more than likely, but they are in good condition. Now you did notice I did just take off 2 heads, and the reason behind that is one head needed replaced. So I figured might as well take them out too in case we had another cylinder that needed replaced on that side. We do have this one that definitely looks like it will need to be replaced. Looks like that one might need replaced as well. Just take those out and take a look at them. I'm thinking the base here will probably need replaced. Got a 38% base. 52, so the base is good. Let's take a look at this. We'll go ahead and put a new one put in there anyway. We can just recharge that old one and use it. Let's go ahead and drain that fluid. Drain that fluid. I doubt if this is like 38%, but I did want to take it off just to be sure. Yeah, it's at 45, so we still should be able to use it. Let me see. Go ahead and take that out. And get the gearbox off because we're going to need to replace that. That is definitely under 38%. I'm going to put it at like 11 to 12. Ah, 10. One mark off. Clutch pressure plate needs replaced. I'm going to put it at 10. It was 10. Alright, so we can put back on that clutch plate. That was good. Do need to replace the pressure plate with a new one. And let's see if we have a gearbox handy. We do. Now we'll go ahead and put on a new one. New gearbox. Let's go ahead and put back on that starter. And let's get that oil drained real quick. And the crankshaft appears to be okay. Two of those pistons are at least out. Matter of fact, let's lift this back up and just remove all of them and make sure the rings are good too, since we didn't take it through a compression test. Gonna just do it manually. Oh, that one's 1 point above it. That ring is definitely gone, though the piston is surprisingly good. That ring is gone. And that piston is gone. So we'll go ahead and put back on the good stuff here, or deemed good. Up to specifications for this order. Probably a better way of wording that. We'll go ahead and purchase a new one on that. Might as well get about 60, 32, 40 of them. We need them on everything, so not necessarily these ones, but they do come up often. We'll go ahead and get that put on. This is the side that needed replaced. And we'll get that other one put on. That was at 57%, so that's good. And before we go ahead and start putting that stuff on, I would like to come underneath here and put the caps back on, as well as the lid. Gonna need to get some more spark plugs here. We'll get about 5 of them. Would put in the aftermarket ones, but in the interest of keeping it all the same type, I just wanted to put in the OEMs. Good news is, after we get all these parts put back on the engine, we should be able to start it. So that'll resolve that one. Push rods. I believe all of these were up to specifications on this order. Uh, that one was 38, so we'll go ahead and replace that one, as well as the others here. Need to get that oil cap back on. Oh, that looks good. Thought I already drained that. Guess not. The oil cap, I mean the oil filter. Alright, he's starting to get tired. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? Oh. Need to replace that. More than likely a timing chain as well. Hmm, still not starting. Let's go ahead and use a multimeter here to check the fuses. Yeah, fuse B needs replaced. One of them. And that should allow it to start. There we are. Yeah, now it'll start. So let's go ahead and get those body parts removed. Already know the hood needs replaced. Front left door, front right door. Or repaired at least. Left headlight, left tail light, and rear bumper. Left tail light, rear bumper, left headlight, right tail light. So we're going to need to replace both of those tail lights. And with that, we could just go to the body shop now and get those replaced, as they are not connected to the bumper, as they usually are with most vehicles. Let's repair those body parts here. Ones we're able to repair, which is not the doors, so we're going to need to purchase those as well as a hood. Left door, right door, and a hood. Did get the mirrors repaired though, which really wasn't called for, but figured why not, you know? We can give them a little extra, maybe get a bonus. Let's get that left headlight. Oh, interesting. Oh, there it is. Not used to headlights looking like that. And the rear bumper. And out of the kindness of my heart, why is that not registering? Oh, duh. Need a new rear bumper. Only at 10%, not repairable. But, like I was saying, out of the kindness of my heart, I'm gonna go ahead and move this to the car wash to start with, and go ahead and get it a new paint job. Let's go ahead and get that at the car wash, yeah. And we'll go ahead and vacuum it out here. And we'll move it over to the paint shop. And let's look into the factory colors. Actually, since this is a customer's vehicle, we'll just keep it with the current color. Reason I'm doing this is the parts I put back on there were on a different color, and I don't think it's right to put different colored parts on the vehicle, even though they didn't cover the paint for the parts. So, let's go ahead and move that back here. It's looking alright, a lot better than when it came in. Got the replace timing related parts, 335. Car does not start 10. Find and fix all running gear problems, 1,340. Inspect and replace filters, 127. Gearbox shift rough at 900. General gearbox control and repair, 988. Tax bonus, 4,097. Job bonus 2,948. Total payout 12,445. We'll go ahead and get some oil in there. Forgot to do that after putting on the oil filter. I might need that as well. Alright, so that gave us a new level at level 66. And we still got about an hour and 10 minutes left here, so let's go ahead and take a couple more orders. Got the Bolt Reptilia here, 125. Starlines at 19. Nissan Faraday, gotta get that in. We'll move that on to car lift A. And 55 seconds on this, we'll go ahead and move that in. Alright, so Nissan Faraday only needed one thing. Oh, never mind. Needed a lot more things, I guess. Find and fix running gear problems. Car is hard to control. Knocking sound coming from suspension. Loud when accelerating. Gear shifts rough. General gearbox control and repair. And brake fluid, windshield wiper fluid. And they want to increase the car's performance by 10 to 15%. Definitely doable. Let me see here. Got to replace that shock absorber and spring for sure. We got an outer tie rod out. Wheel hub bearing on the passenger side. Looks like a rear axle knuckle housing on the passenger side, as well as a leaf spring plate. And for the exhaust, the middle exhaust, the catalytic converter. And you got the exhaust manifold. It's going to need replaced as well. So let's go ahead and get those removed. Carburetor. Carburetors? Before carburetors were around in that format? I mean, I'd never seen them look like that before. Not even on that side of the engine previously. Didn't realize they put carburetors on such a small engine. I guess. But we did have a fuel intake manifold of that type, which is rare, so kind of surprising. And we'll put those carburetors back on, along with the air filter assembly and air filter. And windshield wiper fluid, we can go ahead and drain that. Drain tool, draining. And the brake fluid. Go ahead and drain that. What else? Brake fluid, windshield wiper fluid. Yep, that should be good. So, let's go ahead and lift up the vehicle. We'll replace that gearbox as well as the shock absorber and spring on the passenger side. We got that wheel axle part there and the rear passenger's end. And the front passenger also has a wheel hub bearing out. And we'll get the muffler and the catalytic converter replaced. Get this outer tie rod replaced right now. And let's separate those. There we go. So we'll go ahead and put front shock absorber A back in place here. We will need a new front spring though. And we'll get about 10 of those. And might as well put on a new cap as well. Get a brand new assembly entirely. Uh, 53. That's at 59. That should be good. I'll go ahead and put this back on. And get this removed. Preparation to take out that gearbox and get that changed out. Starter looks like it's in good condition. And it looks like we're gonna have to replace that flywheel. The clutch is looking kind of bad too, so we'll replace that as well. Replace that flywheel, replace the clutch, and we could still use that same pressure plate. Clutch release bearing, and gearbox. We will go ahead and put that in there. Let's not get a custom one, even though that is my habit. Go, put that starter back on, and get that drive shaft in there. Go ahead and remove the middle muffler, catalytic converter. And get that plate removed and replaced. Probably gonna have to replace this bushing as well. Let me see. Nope, that's at 54, so that should be good. Let's get that knuckle housing in there. Alright. Go ahead and put that down. take a look at some things here. Air filter's not going to add enough horsepower. Don't have much to work with on this one. I mean, I guess we could start by replacing the fuel filter for what little benefits it gives us. Let me see about the carburetor, the intake manifold, see how much they might give us. Honestly, we're looking at replacing the full exhaust at this rate. That's about 3% on the carburetor and the intake manifold. That would be 6 in total. Uh, let's see about the catalytic converter, the middle muffler, and the rear muffler. Middle muffler really isn't enough to speak of. Rear muffler gives us 2%, so that would bring us to 8. Catalytic converter, not really enough to speak of. So we're still at 8. We still need that, what was that, 3 more points? To meet the required performance gain. I doubt if the fuel pump's gonna do it for us, but let's see. Fuel pump would only be 1.5. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and purchase those parts that will get us the benefit. We'll go with that fuel pump, the carburetor 16L24, intake manifold 16L24. We'll get all of those, and we'll go over here to improve upon them. Hopefully that'll get us to 11. That gets up to 4%, 3.8, something like that on the carburetor. And 1.6 on the fuel pump. We'll go and repair. Well, enhance that one as well. Now we have that intake manifold and an exhaust part, I believe. Exhaust part. Intake manifold, that's not it. This is. Oh, that'll take us up to 3.6 on that. Rear muffler, 2.4. I believe that's it. Let me check. I don't believe we had more parts we needed to enhance. Yeah, that's the 195. Let's go ahead and bring it down. And we'll take this one off. As well as this. Intake manifold. Go ahead and put that on there. Let me see. Let me say 4%. That should finish it out there. Very nicely. Probably take us over 11. Got a 3.9 there. And the carburetor, 3.9. Perfect. We'll get that windshield wiper fluid refilled, the brake fluid refilled, and it should be good to go as far as mechanical parts. We'll just have to move on to the body parts. excuse me. Oh, this one had no body parts, so surprising. That hood I could tell you need replaced. Probably the lights. The front left fender. What? Since it doesn't call for. Fix and find and fix any running gear problems. 310. Car is hard to control. 221. Knocking sound coming from suspension. 19. Loud when accelerating. 658. Gearbox shifts rough. 1574. General gearbox control and repair 590, tax bonus 3,140 credits, job bonus 2,559 credits, total payout 10,702. So we'll go ahead and fix that. And let's see about this one. So we got sloppy car steering, find and fix any running gear problems, fix suspension clunks and rattles, brake system needs fixing, driving struggling to find gears, and body part replacement. All right, let's see, 41%. We could start by draining the fluid on the brakes, just so we could take that brake servo off to confirm. What was it, 41? So that's at 45. That should be good. Let me see. I'm thinking this shock absorber A needs replacing. I would definitely say we need to replace the ABS pump. That was at 3%, so I'm gonna have to get a new one of those. And we'll get that on. We could put on that old module still. That was in good shape. At 45. Go ahead and lift it on up. And I think we found the steering problem with the outer and the inner tie rod. Carburetor might need carburetor. The caliber might need replacing. 41. No, that's good. The brake pads look good, so I'm not even gonna bother with that. And let's get this outer tie rod replaced along with the inner tie rod. Take that off real quick. Go ahead and separate it. I believe that was A. All of that should meet base at 41. But we'll give them a little bit better. Oh, the shock absorber A. It's right at baseline, so I'm just going to replace that for him. The spring should be good. And the cap should be good. You gotta get the 59. I can't remember what it came with, but out of the used caps I currently have in there, that I have. Uh, that was the best one. That was in the best condition, so I went ahead and purchased that. Ooh. Inner tie rod. That's gonna need replacing. And we could use that outer tie rod still. And go ahead and replace that disc, as well as the brake pads on this one. And brake pads. Calipers should be good. 49 and 45. And we'll go ahead and put that tire back on. Move on to the back tires. See about those brake parts. I can tell you right now, those brake pads need replacing. Caliber and disc look alright though. I don't believe those are Lord and 41, and they are not. Brake pads at 14. I'll get those replaced. Caliber and the, what do you call it, cylinder are in good condition. We'll put that tire back on. And move over here. Looks like the brake disc needs replaced. And that should be about it for the brake parts entirely. Let me see. Rear drive axle. Almost needed replaced. We got lucky on that one. Kind of curious to know what that hub might need replaced on that side, but we'll put this stuff back in, and if we're still showing issues, we can go ahead and replace it at that time if need be. That, I believe those pads were good to go, so we'll put that back on. And 48, 53. Gear issues, wheel hub are good on this side. The ECU is definitely going to need replaced. Nope, never mind. That's at 48. It looked rougher than 41, I'll tell you that for sure. Let me try something here. All that's good. Clutch bearing and clutch plate need replaced. That's where I was going to look next. And the clutch pressure plate. So let's go ahead and get those replaced. That kind of came in handy. I wish I would have remembered previously that we could do that instead of having to take off the gearbox. I mean, I remember we could do something to do it, but I generally just take off the gearbox. I didn't remember it was that. Otherwise, I'd just do that, because that's a lot faster, and it doesn't require us to have all the parts on the vehicle either. But with the sleep issues as of late, it really disrupts that. Well, as of the past, honestly, probably 2 to 3 years. Feels like I've been in prison. Of course, I've never actually been in prison, so I can't say that for certain, but from what people describe it as, kind of feels that way. Hell, I haven't even been to jail. The worst I've ever done was back when I was in college. I got caught with a water pipe. Ooh. Nowadays, it's not even a crime, but back then it was. Mainly because it had something in it, which back then was a crime as well. That being marijuana, nothing serious. The good stuff. Ah, those were the days. I don't do it anymore, unless I go to a state where it's legal. And then I might do it, maybe one time. You gotta went into the area that participates in that kind of activity. But yeah, I don't do that anymore myself. Just a drinker from time to time on the weekends. Maybe a beer here and there during the week if I'm not working the next day. And on the weekends, it's a free for all, so every week. If I'm working that week. Otherwise, maybe not every week. Like last week, I didn't drink that much because I was getting over what I refer to as the flu from Hades. So probably another strain of the COVID. And I don't think I drank the previous week because I was sick. So there we go. Got that cap replaced. Rear shock absorber cap. Rear shock cap. And I got one more part back here that I think might be the spring cap. Nope, close though. That was at 42. Almost at that 41 line. Not dissimilar from that Mississippi line. Not much there. Not much there. Kind of like Iowa. Not much there. Oh, got to replace that. Rear suspension arm. But we still have some other running gear issues. We're gonna get this. I'm telling you. Rear suspension crossbar is right at that level, so that should be alright. I think all of this should be good, as well as the other side. Housing knuckle is right at that line there at 41. But that side's good. And this housing knuckle's at that line too. But it's good. So I called that. See about the suspension. That's good. This will all be good. I don't even think any parts will reach that line on this side. 42 got close. But all good, not reaching that line. Huh. I'm guessing a bushing. A bushing is where I'm guessing. A bushing. A bush. A bush. Ing. A bush to the ing. Ing of the bush. Let's go ahead and fill that brake fluid. Let's fill that brake fluid. I'm getting loopy. I'm so tired. Gearbox. So, same problem. So, got that fluid, got that fluid. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Let's take it on over to that test path. Look at that, 8780 on the radio. It's their favorite. First one. Must be imported because it looks like there's Asian hieroglyphs on the dash panel there. I'm pretty certain that's an aftermarket radio, as this is a pretty old vehicle and that has a display screen. It's 89 in the cabin. I think that's the first time I've seen those before. So we have two rubber bushings that need replaced. No, that is not an older vehicle. I was thinking this was the Bolt. Rubber bushings. Okay. Let's get to that. I got 5 on it. That at least run rubber bushing is in the front suspension crossover. But let's see. Oh, lower suspension arm has one of them in the front. How often do you see that? So that's one of them. Let's go ahead and put that tire back on. That looks, yeah, that's the one we need to replace. So I was correct on the bushing. There was one in that front suspension crossover, or cross member as they say. So I did win that 5. And now we gotta fix the body parts. So front left door window, front right door window. But that's gonna have us replace that front left or front driver's side door. Front left door window, front right door window, left body window A, left headlight B, and left side mirror. Oh, let's add that and that. And let's move over here. Left side mirror, right side mirror, and windshield. So we'll go ahead and remove that windshield and add a new windshield to the list. What is this menu? There we go. Alright, let's get those parts repaired. Ones we can repair. Good. Got that right side mirror. We'll need a right window as well. And we're going to come on over here, go to body, go to ABS pump. Yeah, I figured that was aftermarket. Left side window. And the windshield. Or not. Front right door window is not. Now we'll go with aftermarket parts and get that headlight. Go ahead and put all that in here. Oh, I'm gonna need to replace that one. We'll put that on the list. That, and it should be good. Front left door window still needs replaced. Alright, so we are finished with that, and we got slapping car steering at 81, find and fix new running gear problems at 95, fix suspension clunks and rattles at 130, brake system needs fixing at 1200, driver struggling to find gears at 213, fixed body parts at 2755, tags bonus at 2556, job bonus at 1,889. Total payout at 8,919. So we'll go ahead and finish that. And we got about, what is that? 25 minutes left. So let's go ahead and see what else we could repair. Definitely want to get that. That's at 20 seconds. And it's part of the DLC. So this will be real parts. 32 seconds on that bolted Lanta. We'll go ahead and take that to lit B. And let's take a look at this Mayan. Or Mayan. Mayan T8012. Brake problems. About 4 of them. The brake servo's not one of them. Let me see. Alright. Looks like it does need a new ABS pump, so we'll get that replaced. ABS pump. There we go. And we'll get that module in. So now let's get it up on the lift and get those brake parts repaired and replaced. Well, replaced. And then we'll repair them later for another vehicle. Because once you repair them, they are counted as new in this simulated world. Ventilated, 54 minimum. Alright, so do need to replace that disc. And that should be good. Get on that caliber and go on to the next one. Caliber, cylinder, and tire. Looks like this disc is not gonna need replaced, so go ahead and remove the caliber and the brake pad and get that replaced. And go ahead and put those back on. $59, $73. And we can replace those brake pads and the calibers. And get that tire back on. This one should be good to go. The poor brake performance at 1,160, tax bonus at 145, job bonus of 290, and total payout of 1,595. We'll finish that and move on to the Bolt Atlanta. Have poor brake performance, about 3 parts. Brake fluid, coolant fluid, power steering fluid, windshield wiper fluid need replaced. And they want to up the tuning by 8 to 13. So let's get those fluids drained here. That'll be the windshield wiper fluid, might as well. Steering fluid. Coolant fluid. And the brake fluid. Alright. So, we got those drained. Let me see about increasing the performance. I'm going to start with this intake manifold as well as the carburetor. We we could go ahead and do the fuel filter. And the pump probably. Might as well. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to get that number with how little we have to work with. Oh, we have that one and this one, so we could replace both of those. That'll help. Then we'll just move to the exhaust. Hopefully that'll do it. So let's move to performance parts, pump, intake manifold, that's 3%. Carburetor is 3%, that brings us up to 6. Fuel pumps 1.5. Exhaust manifolds 3, so that's about 10. That one for the future, maybe. Let's go ahead and get that fuel filter aftermarket as well. That should bring us up to 11. Well, probably 12 at this point with that fuel pump. There we go. Ah, yes, the coolant. It says 8 to 13. That's definitely 8 to 13. It's probably more than what was required. Therefore, I'm getting that nothing completed yet thing. So let's check something out here. Yep, that's it. Let's just get that OEM and that should resolve that problem. Oh, no, don't want to do that. So it was 0.78 more than what was required. Pretty good, I'd say. It's right at 13. I'll notice a tiny boost if they put down the gas pedal all the way. Like, doesn't seem like it's really worth it at my age unless it's at least like 25 to 50 and it increases your fuel mileage. Back in the day when I was younger, I would have done it, but nowadays, just not worth it. Alright, so the brake shoe needs replaced for sure on that. Brake arm's good. Let me just make sure. And we're gonna move over here. And brake shoe replace. Alright, so we'll just need the drum cylinder on this one. The brake shoe should be good. And we'll get that drum put back on there. Alright, got that. We'll go ahead and put on a brake pad. And there we go. Alright, so got that completed. And for the poor brake performance, we got 86 credits. For the other tax, we got 1,080 credits. For the tax bonus, we got 290 credits. Job bonus, 561 credits. Total payout, 2,017 credits. So go ahead and mark that as finished. We got about 13 minutes left, so let's see what else we have here. Looks like we got 17 seconds on this. We'll go ahead and take that in. So probably take us a little bit over that time, but more enjoyment for you guys. And fun, it's fun, fun. Fix suspension clunks and rattles. Got about 3 of those. Repair all running gears. 1 of those. Gears keep slipping. 1 of those. Repair all gear faults. 3 of those. Gearbox shifts rough. 1 of those. And gotta replace all that fluid. So we'll go ahead and drain the fluid now. Okay, now did that say we had running gear? All running gear issues, any engine? No engine problems. Let's see. Shouldn't be the timing. So we know the gearbox needs replaced. And we got a shock absorber cap, and I believe a spring in the back here. No, the spring's good. And so is the bottom cap. Wheel hub bearing on the driver's side tire there. Also an end link needs replaced. So let's go ahead and get it lifted up. Front wheel hub needs replaced too on that driver's side tire end. And the brake disc should be good. Cap and the pads, caliber, all of that. Cylinder, 63 and 58. So now we can put the, well, before we put that tire back on, let's replace this end link. Now we'll put that tire back on. It's 11 Classic. And let me see here. Should be good. Shouldn't need to take out the tire for this brake absorber A and the shock absorber cap. Should be good there. And bushing looked alright when I was looking there. If anything, just bolts on that one. I already did that one. And that one looks alright. So let's move to the gear issues, which we could start with the gearbox and see what else is under it. Matter of fact, let's use that little tool again. The little magnifying. That is right here. Clutch pressure plate's gonna need replaced, as well as the clutch plate. Now, let's go ahead and get that starter off. Flywheel should be good though. We'll get this bearing. Pressure plate in the clutch. Never mind, the flywheel also needs replaced. Oh, it looks like the whole clutch assembly at this point. Minus the bearing. Clutch bearing. And gearbox. Drive shaft. Other task. Alright, so gotta drain those fluids. Did I have to drain the oil as well? No. No, we're good on that. Put that windshield wiper fluid in there, and we'll get the coolant fluid, the steering fluid, followed by the brake fluid. After the review, that should put us right on time. And the brake fluid. Alright, so fix suspension clunks and rattles, 174 credits. Repair all running gear faults at 110 credits. Gears keep slipping at 88 credits. Repair all gear faults at 678 credits. Gearbox ifs rough at 960 credits. Other tags at 60 credits. Task bonus at 3,156 credits. Job bonus at 1,138 credits, and total payout of 6,364 credits. So we'll go ahead and click finish there, and let's head on out here. Looks real pretty. And would like to thank you for joining me for today's stream. You could join me again on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Twitch, and on Fridays on this channel at youtube.com/JASHN2000 from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And you could also check me on that Twitch channel. That'll be the same username, so it's twitch.tv/JASHN2000. If you enjoyed watching and would like to see more of this content, please feel free to follow on Twitch. You could follow me on here. You could just go ahead and subscribe and or like. As always, thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.